I just think the media doesn't really, they should shut down all the media outlets for the next 24 hours because they have zero credibility and they can all kind of powwow and see what kind of credibility they can get back.
Absolutely. Tonight was not only a victory for Donald Trump, but it's a victory for the American public. We have seen a record low distrust in media, and tonight solidified that the corporate press no longer sets the narrative. They threw the kitchen sink at Donald Trump, hoax after hoax. They peddled lies. They gave cushy interviews to Kamala Harris. They rewrote her record for her, and it still wasn't enough to drag her across the finish line. I think the two big reasons for that was, one, Donald Trump redefined how to campaign. He was on podcast. He reached young men 18 to 29, and two, Elon Musk bought Twitter a few years ago. He made that the de facto public square where free speech was permissible.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. By the way, CNN, MSNBC, neither have called the race so far.
Can we also point out for a second, too, that, like, the Democrats need to do an assessment, not to give the Democrats too much advice, because I don't want them to win going forward, but the Democrats really need to work on themselves and reassess. I think that the mainstream media needs to work on themselves and reassess as well, because even when they tried to give Kamala Harris softball interviews, she didn't do great. Even when they tried to tell us Joe Biden was okay and then shifted, and when they realized, oh, no, he was not.
Yeah.
They were lying to themselves and the American people, and they need to, like, get out of their bubble. Maybe they need to go to the Rust Belt. Maybe they need to go to the Bible Belt and figure out what is actually happening on the ground and start reporting the truth.
But they won't, and here's why. Lawrence O'Donnell for MSNBC, he's already got a villain in this, Brianna, and of course, it's not the Harris campaign. It's the Electoral College. Watch.
I would like to issue an apology to all of those states that we have not mentioned. It's not our fault. It's the founding fathers. They decided on this thing called the Electoral College, which, interestingly, no other country in the world decided to copy.
By the way, Donald Trump appears to be on his path to win the popular vote as well.
The purpose of the Electoral College is so that states who have regional density do not overtake states. There has to be a geographical balance. Our founders were Federalists. They created a Federalist system, and nobody was going to directly elect the leader. You were going to directly elect your local representatives. And, you know, the funny thing for Democrats is I think they were hoping Donald Trump may win the Electoral College but lose the popular vote. He won both. So I think now they kind of lost any argument or any leg to stand on that they may have thought they had.
Yeah, let's play some initial media reaction to the announcement where Kamala Harris was just she was gonna just sit back and watch TV a little bit, maybe take a nap, and watch.
She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face.
That's the wrong one. We have the right one. Initial media reaction to the Richmond announcement. Watch. We don't have it.
But what, I mean,
do we have it, Kevin?
That clip that you just played, though, is such an example of how the media took something that Donald Trump was saying, something that, I don't know, I'm old enough to remember Cindy Sheehan would say outside of George W. Bush's Crawford Ranch, things that liberals were marching while burning effigies of George W. Bush in 2004 in Manhattan, saying, oh, no, we should send those politicians to have guns pointed at them on the war zone, not our boys.
Yeah.
He's literally saying what leftists used to defend, but the media took it and ran with it and lied about it being a direct threat on Liz Cheney's life.
Barack Obama was saying find people on both. He was doing the same. The former president of the United States was campaigning and telling lies.
Yeah.
And you think it's unbelievable. Brianna, to you, I mean, you have to wonder that, you know, it's just starting all over again because they have to come up with a new candidate. They have to come up with, they're going to keep the same villain. They have to come up with a new candidate. So the media's got a lot of work to do.
The media has a lot of work to do, especially because they were trying their hardest, like I mentioned earlier, to drag Kamala Harris across the finish line, and their efforts were not fruitful. I mean, again, they threw everything at Donald Trump, and it still wasn't enough. What Democrats have to do this time is they have to figure out what went wrong with their internal polling and what went wrong with the fact that they have people like Jen Psaki and Joy Reid pretending that they understand what the average American feels like. They are part of the D.C. bubble, and until they step out of that bubble, they're going to keep giving wrong analysis, they're going to keep getting it wrong, and the American people will vote the other way.
I wanted to play the sound because the best part was Rachel Maddow saying, now we're just waiting for the blue wall states and watching the math. Sending people home is also asking them to conserve their emotional energy, I think. And that's kind of what just stay, just go. Take a deep breath.
Deep breath.
When you come back, we'll have this whole thing fixed.
I've doulaed a handful of births because I'm a home birth hippie myself, and it's the box breathing that you tell people.
Yep.
It's like that's what I wanted to tell out of pity the MSNBC panels this evening. Just box breathe. It'll be fine. It'll be okay. Tomorrow is another day.
Brianna, I've got 15 seconds if you have a final comment on this.
Yeah, I'd say, look, for 4 years, the media has told us if you don't immediately concede the race, you are a threat to democracy. So I would love to see all the Democrats tomorrow come out against CNN and MSNBC.
I cannot wait. Brianna,